Bambiz Marketing presents Elder Law Growth, the podcast that helps elder law and estate planning attorneys attract clients without wasting time or money. I'm your host, Amy Hurst. Let's dive in.
And I say to them, open up a blank spreadsheet and write down, put yourself in your client's position, right? You be the client. Now start typing 100 questions that the client has, okay? Now, when they start writing those 100 questions, a lot of them might not ever be used, but what it does is it frees up the mind to start thinking exactly what the client is thinking. And once you've got to, don't stop typing. It might take you half an hour. Don't stop typing until you've got to number 100. Once you've got those 100 questions, then go back and visit them and look for trends in those questions, what the client is asking for. Because when you do that, you're switching your mindset from being a solution provider to being a question asker, which is what you're trying to serve. When the people who are going to be your clients are sitting thinking, they're not thinking about what solution can Amy give me. They're thinking about all the questions that's inside their head about what would benefit them if they had an answer for these questions. So that's a good exercise, I find, for coming up with information that's going to lead to great lead magnets that people are going to want.
That was John Bellingham. When it comes to email marketing, he is an expert in his field. He's been doing this for a very long time. He has his own business, and he loves helping businesses grow their email list and turning that email list into dream clients. And that's why I asked him onto this podcast today to help us understand how to take those email contacts and turn them into clients. This is a gold mine of revenue, guys. It's one of the best sources that you can tap into. And in this podcast episode, John is going to walk us through the very first step of getting those emails all the way to turning those emails into clients. He's going to walk us through the entire process with simple steps and some great takeaways. Let's dive in.
Email marketing for me has been, so over the last few decades, I've had a number of businesses. And without doubt, email marketing has been, for me, the most successful digital marketing channel of all. I just find it's such a personal channel that you can, build up a great relationship with people. Something that you can't do on social media. As much as you can try, you can't ever get that one message going to one person on social media.
Absolutely. That's what I love about the email and the email list, is that it's ownership. It's yours. It's your audience, and no social media platform can touch it. So you can say whatever you want to your list and really build that relationship in the way only you know how. Whereas on social media, you kind of have to, play the algorithm, and you kind of have to, watch what you say.
Yeah.
But with your email list, it's the inner circle. And I think
absolutely.
the email list is an amazing thing. It is a completely different level of marketing. Absolutely.
Yeah. The other thing about email marketing that doesn't occur to a lot of people is that it has never been owned, and it never will be owned by one company or one person. And because it's effectively open source, so no one company can decide to shut down email marketing because it exists everywhere. So it's not like if LinkedIn decided to pull the plug, or Facebook or Twitter or any of those companies. Email marketing is not owned by a single company. So it's another powerful benefit to it.
And basically the whole purpose of social media is to get people on your email list. Since we're on that topic of using social media to build up our email list, our own space of the internet. You've been in this for so long. You have your own business. This is how you help service-based solopreneurs. Like, this is your jam. So what would be your key strategies of building attention on social media to get people on their email list? Is it through lead magnets? Like, what would you suggest?
You mentioned lead magnets earlier on, and that's the biggest way that the most successful way I've found of attracting people onto my list. And what I tend to do is I will analyze the type of people I'm trying to attract onto my list. I'll figure out what their situations are, what keeps them awake at night, what is it they're trying to do they can't do, what do they struggle with, what would make their life much easier if they had this thing in their life. And then I sit and I try and design solutions that will try and answer each one of those challenges. And then I'll, at the right time in the right place, i.e. the right platform, I'll offer those solutions to them for free, almost for free. It's in exchange for their email address.
The lead magnet.
Yeah, absolutely. So the lead magnet. Now, so if you give them a downloadable document that they can go and read at their leisure, it's all about the estate planning. Now, what most people tend to do, and this is where they make a mistake, they then try and tell them who they are, what they've done, what achievements they have, who they work with. It's all that stuff. And that's not, at that point in time, that's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in learning about estate planning. So once they get access to your lead magnet, they download that, the next thing to do is put them into a sequence of emails that's going to support and complement the lead magnet. So send them 5 or 6 or 8 emails that explains in even more detail about what estate planning involves and how you can get the outcome that you're looking for.
And there's takeaway number 1. The fastest way to grow an email list, even when you're starting at ground zero, is to make a lead magnet and then to promote it on the social media platforms where you know your dream client is hanging out. So for the elder law and estate planning attorneys, those social media platforms would be Facebook and YouTube. Now, to promote it on YouTube, you can talk about it a little bit in your video and then include a link below. So that way people have something to link to and go to. You always want to leave a next step for them. Absolutely, with your YouTube videos. On Facebook, just talk about it on Facebook, make several posts about it. A word of caution with this tip: avoid talking too much about yourself in this lead magnet, because at this point in time, all they're interested in is the solution that you're giving them. You can talk about yourself later, but right now, all you're trying to prove is that you have the solution and how helpful you can be with that solution. Let's keep going.
And then that could be a sequence that's delivered over, let's say, a week or 2 weeks. And after that couple of weeks period, you've given so much value that person feels like they're starting to get to know you. You know, they're giving you a little bit more trust because all you've been doing up to now is giving them a bit of value. And then once you've given that value through your lead magnet sequence, as I call it, then it's time to start telling a little bit about you, who you are, how you came about, why you do what you do. Because at that point, I might be a bit more interested in, well, who is Amy? What exactly? How did Amy get into this role? How did she come about this business? So I've now been satisfied with my initial inquiry, i.e. estate planning, and now I'm starting to learn a little bit more about you and how you do it. So the picture's starting to come together for me now. I know Amy can solve my problem. I know who she is. I know what she does. I can start to understand more of her values, and I can understand whether they resonate with me, whether I agree with them or I don't agree with them. And I'm much more likely to be attracted or repelled by that thing. After you've got them on your system, you've had them on there for a number of weeks, and all you've been seen to do is give them value and be helpful. And then when the time is right and they've shown the right signals that they're ready to engage with you, then you then start to share with them your sales sequences to say, well, here's the things I offer, here's what you can buy, here's why, here's the benefits you're going to get for it, and here's how to get it. And then when you start to automate those processes, that's when the power of email marketing really comes into its own.
Takeaway number 2, this is probably the most important part of growing your email list and then converting those emails into clients. This is what is going to set you apart from everyone else, and this is what will help you the most. This is so important that I'm going to paint a picture to really drive the point home. This takeaway point number 2 is to keep the good stuff coming. Keep it coming, keep it coming, keep it going, keep it going, keep on going. So let's paint the picture. Let's pretend that my parents just named me the executor of their estate. I have no idea how to be an executor, right? So what do? I go onto the internet to find out as much as I can and how to be an executor, because I want to do a good job. I want to know what I'm doing, and I know it's a big task. I find your PDF on how to be an executor. Of course, I'm going to download that. So I give you my email address in exchange for that solution. I read your PDF. It's helpful. but it doesn't answer all of my questions. So I move on. And here's the key, guys. Here's the kicker. But that's not where it stops. I might have moved on, but you haven't. The following week, much to my surprise, I get another email from you saying something like, hey, I know you're interested in being an executor. My lead magnet didn't include this point, so I want to make sure you know this. Of course, it's more information about how to be an executor. You're giving even more information. The week after that, you do the same thing. Hey, this tip will help you with being an executor even more. The week after that, you send me another email. And then by week 7, you've given me so much helpful information in each email that of course, I would want to hire you because you've been so helpful and you've been helping me all along. Now, I might not be ready to hire you yet because my parents are still alive. But when my parents do pass away, I know who I'm going to want to hire, the one who's been helping me all along when I didn't even ask for that help, right? So that's the point that I want to drive home. Keep on going with the good stuff. And then by email 7 or 8, usually it's around that point. That's when you can start talking about yourself. You can start selling yourself, telling your story, because by that point, I'm so interested in you and the help. And I am looking forward to those weekly emails because they're so helpful. That's when you can start pitching yourself more, talking about the other services that you have. Let's keep going. Do you have a success story, how it's helped solopreneurs build their business?
But there's one particular lady, I won't mention her name because I haven't asked her permission, but she basically transformed her business. She had, let me just pause there and I'll go back let's take us back one step, because way back at the start of this, I said that email marketing is always preceded by content marketing. It's also interdependent on what I call your offer stack or your offer matrix, what it is you offer, okay? And those offers that you have inside your business, they need to be weaved into the fabric of your email marketing. And when it's properly designed, then email marketing can generate an income from those things without you actually having to do anything. So this particular lady I'm talking about, she didn't have any of this in her business at all. And what she effectively managed to do was she put into her offer stack, or her offer matrix, a number of things that were both dependent upon her time, exchanging her time for money, but mostly around things that she didn't need to. She did it once, and it became an almost passive income around things like digital assets that she was selling, and it was a low maintenance membership package. And she actually increased her revenue by 75% just by doing these things, right?
Takeaway number 3, think about all of the knowledge that you have and turn that into passive income if you can at your law firm. I do know some estate planning attorneys are doing this, and it's very successful with their client maintenance program. It's kind of like upselling to your clients. Of the clients who have already gotten their estate plan through you, you can upsell them and say, hey, would you like to be on this yearly membership where I teach you even more about your estate plan, or, whatever resonates with you. But you have so much knowledge. You can put that to work for you and start making passive income. It's just something to think about. Now, a big question that everyone asks is, how long should I expect for the email marketing system to work? How long does it take? When do I start seeing results? Let's see what John has to say.
So yeah, I would say if you're not seeing results after 3 months, then there's a bit of a challenge. And certainly within 6 months to 9 months, they should definitely start to see a trend forming in their business. It's not rocket science. If you do the thing that provides the value to your subscribers, then this thing's probably going to happen. At least with some of your subscribers, not all of them. Nobody ever will have an email list where everybody's going to buy everything that you provide, right? Another trap I see some people fall into is they try and hold some of the solution back. Don't do that. Don't behave that way. Give everything you know. Give a complete solution. If you can give someone a 100% actionable solution that they can go and do, then it's a win-win, because they've got the solution they were looking for and you got them on your email list. And from that point onwards, you can start to nurture the relationship. Now, I have given people Literally, I've given people everything that I could possibly share with them, and they still haven't done it. Because humans are humans and they just don't do it, right? Life gets in the way. They don't have the time. They don't have the capacity. They don't understand it fully. And eventually they come back and say, can you just do it for me? Because I don't understand it. So no matter what you give people, even if you think you're giving everything away, they're still going to need you. They're still going to come back to you and ask you for your help. So the people who are too busy to sit and write it down, just dictate it, put it into an app and dictate it and get someone to create that document for you. You don't need to do all these things yourself, right? Even the emails, get someone to create the emails for you, but you're the person with the expertise. You need to dictate what's going to be in that element of value that you're sharing with your subscriber list. So you need to make sure that it's accurate. You need to make sure it's right. But it doesn't mean to say you have to physically do it. You could dictate it and give it to someone else to do it. So I would recommend doing that too, because we obviously speak a lot quicker than we can type, right? I know I certainly can. I can type about 20 to 30 minutes, words a minute. I can talk, about 180 words a minute. So let's take advantage of technology and make it work for us.
What technology has helped you the most in your job in email marketing?
And coincidentally, the one that I use and I recommend to most service people that I work with happens to be based not that far from where you live, Amy. So they're in Boise, Idaho. I'm talking about ConvertKit, Nathan Barry.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
So
we got
Nathan,
some good people here in Boise, Idaho.
Absolutely, yeah. So I've been a big user and advocate of of ConvertKit for a number of years. And what these guys are creating is just perfect, in my opinion, for service-based operations, right?
Really?
Because it has the things that you need it to do, but it's very simple to use. Anyone can use it. You don't need to be technical in any way. I come from a technical background and I struggle to understand how they got this thing set up. And then when you contrast that with something like ConvertKit, you're like, right, a sigh of relief, because this thing does what you want it to do in a very simple way. You don't need to try and figure things out, right? It's quite straightforward. So my recommendation is, for when it comes to technology, is get a good email marketing platform, or ESP, email service provider. It's often referred to. One that you can work with, one that you're comfortable with, and one that's affordable for your budget. Now these start at, I think ConvertKit starts about $10 a month, per user. It's not going to break the bank. It's not. And once you get more and more subscribers, then you obviously your premium will increase as well. And once you find one that you're happy with, stick with it, because you don't want to jump from email marketing system to email marketing system, because that's got a whole bunch of connotations that you don't want to get into, and a lot of them are technical.
Way too messy. Yeah.
Yeah. So my recommendation when it comes to tech is just find one that you're comfortable with, use it. If you like it, then put all your efforts into designing that system to be the best system that you can have for your business, and make sure it does what your subscribers need it to do for them.
Takeaway number 4: take advantage of the technology out there, guys. If you do not have the time to do it all, which who does, record your voice, get those into notes, and then pass it off into somebody else who can turn those into emails or a lead magnet. There's lots of freelancers out there who are very skilled and would be happy to do this. So work smarter, not harder. Record your voice, get those notes down, pass it along to somebody else who can really make them magical for you. In this next part, John is going to share one simple trick in how to tell which lead magnet will resonate with our audience, because you never know. Maybe people don't want a PDF from you. Maybe they want a webinar or a video. Stay tuned for this next part, because John's going to share a simple observance and how to help you put out the right lead magnet that your audience will want to download and give you their email address, therefore growing your email list even faster. Let's go on.
Now, the first subscriber, the first 10, 100, 500 subscribers on your list, you might end up with some people who are not quite right, but over a period of time, you'll start to realize the things that are working for you and the things that are not working for you. You'll start to think, the people who downloaded this document or the people who watched this webinar, they all seem to be converting into clients. Whereas the people who downloaded these documents or did this online course, none of them have converted, or very few of them have converted. So you start to quickly see which things work and which things don't. And when you look back after 6 months, you'll realize how far you've come.
So you said, like, the word would be experimenting with different lead magnets. So here's the typical thing that I see with law firms. They only have one lead magnet. But what you were mentioning was over the past 6 months, you can see how people are reacting to a webinar or your document or any other type of lead magnet you have out there. So are you suggesting to have more than one type of lead magnet? I almost kind of feel like it's suicide to just have one.
Yeah. So you should have more than one, right? I'm always a bit reluctant with a new client to put too much pressure on them to say you need to do all these things, right? So
Right.
my recommendation is start with one lead magnet, find out the most common problem and find out a great solution for them, and not just a half a solution, the full solution, the thing that actually gives them all the answers. And then start to add more valuable lead magnets into your portfolio of what you can offer them. Now, the best way to do that, in my experience, and I get all my clients to do this, and they always cringe when I tell them to do it, but once they get into it, they realize it's not as difficult as it sounds. And I say to them, open up a blank spreadsheet and write down, put yourself in your client's position, right? You be the client. Now start typing 100 questions that the client has. Okay. Now, when they start writing those 100 questions, a lot of them might not ever be used, but what it does is it frees up the mind to start thinking exactly what the client is thinking. And once you've got to, don't stop typing. It might take you half an hour. Don't stop typing until you've got to number 100. Once you've got those 100 questions, then go back and visit them and look for trends in those questions, what the client is asking for. Because when you do that, you're switching your mindset from being a solution provider to being a question asker, which is what you're trying to serve. When the people who are going to be your clients are sitting thinking, they're not thinking about what solution can Amy give me. They're thinking about all the questions that's inside their head about what would benefit them if they had an answer for these questions. So that's a good exercise, I find, for coming up with information that's going to lead to great lead magnets that people are going to want. And once you do that, you'll start to find that the lead magnets that you create are much more engaging and you get much better results from them than just putting something together for the sake of it.
I love that. I love that exercise, John. That's amazing to sit down 100 questions, which our attorneys get questions all day. So this should be
they'll do that.
Easy exercise.
They can do that standing on their head.
Standing on their head. Right. What a great takeaway for this podcast episode. Grab a piece of paper or Google Doc, write down 100 questions that you ask. And then from there, and then you said, pick the trends, the pieces that fit together. And then that way you're able to make even more detailed of a lead magnet or multiple lead magnets. And that's how you can make your content off of your email marketing strategy. That is such a great place to start, John. I love that.
Excellent. In my experience, Amy, the more time you spend on your lead magnets, it sounds an obvious thing to say, but the more time you invest into your lead magnets, the better they are and the better the results you get. Now, I see some people, as I'm sure you do too, is that they'll have this fantastic header and they'll attract you in and say, I've got the problem to your solution. You subscribe and you download it and you find it's like a one-page document and half of it's an image and the other half's a couple of paragraphs. And you're like, that just underwhelms people, right? And they're unlikely to ever engage with you again. So, put a bit of time and investment into creating the lead magnets. Make sure there's something that's of real value. It's not just a flippant document that you're going to create or a 15-minute webinar that has no value. Give them something that's really, really valuable, and they're going to say, "Wow, that was fantastic! If this is what I'm getting for free, imagine what I'm going to get if I actually work with these people."
For everyone who's listening to our podcast today, this is John, and he's been doing this for years, and I found him through LinkedIn, and he has said that that's the best way to contact him. Also, just look him up. I'll add his link down below to underneath our podcast episode. Is there anything that you'd like to mention about the services that you provide?
No, I do provide a lot of stuff for free because I think it's only fair for people to get a feel for what email marketing is. So I do have various things like a 7-day crash course on learning about email marketing, a beginner's guide, how to get started with email marketing. So my recommendation is, come to my LinkedIn profile, find something in my featured section or my profile that will give you value to get you started in email marketing. Have a play around with it. And if you need any help, just message me and I'll see what I can do for you.
It was such a pleasure to have John on here with us to share all of his information. As I said, I'm going to include his link down below for LinkedIn. Please feel free to find him. And if you want more information about marketing in general and growing your online practice, we also have a newsletter. So go to bambiz.net and sign up for our free newsletter. It goes out every week, where we're always giving you more and more free information. Feel free to check it out, and I'm going to include that link down below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Elder Law Growth Podcast, the place to be for all things marketing for elder law and estate planning law firms. If you liked this podcast, please leave us a review wherever you are listening to this podcast. If you'd like to outsource your marketing to our team, go to bambiz.net and book a free call with us today.